Hey Archery Talk, this is Lucas, and bow number 7 for our 2024 hunting bow shootout has arrived, the Xpedition Xlite 29. As the name implies, this bow has an axle-to-axle length of 29 inches, it's got a brace height of 6 inches, and an IBO rated speed of 340 feet per second. This bow is made out of magnite, that's the riser material. If you've not heard about that before, it is a proprietary material for Xpedition that's been used in the aircraft industry, and it is lighter than aluminum and stronger than carbon. So they're claiming 30% lighter than aluminum. They had this bow listed on their website bare at 3.65 pounds. On my scale, it's 3.9 pounds, right on the money, which is incredibly light for an alloy bow. It is super light in the hand, so that's fun to play with, I think. And it's also maybe the best looking bow I've got in so far. I'm really a fan of earth tones, and this has got this nice kind of like, earth tone kind of beigey clay colored riser. It's double Cerakoted, so it should be a finish that stands up to plenty of abuse. I'm going to try not to put it through any of that. The cams are also Cerakoted. The limbs are matching, so it's all kind of like a monotone. Even the strings are kind of a comparable color to everything else in the bow. I think it's super sharp looking, and Xpedition has always made really nice looking bows. They've always had some of my favorite looking bows since we've been shooting them over the course of the last few years. So I'm excited to get this thing set up, and that is the plan for tonight. So tonight, next time you see this bow, it is going to be fully kitted out with a sight, a rest, a peep, and I'm going to run it through paper a little bit to see how it's tuning, and I'm going to run it through the chronograph to see how it stands up as far as its rated speed to our testing speed. This bow's got draw length adjustability from 24.5 to 30 inches. I'm going to be setting this up to 30 inches. That's my draw length, and I think it's already set like that from the factory, at least judging by where the cable stops are sitting right now. And so yeah, I'm going to get to work and get this thing set up. We'll touch base in a little while, talk speed, we'll talk draw cycle, we'll talk setup. Let's get to work. Through the magic of editing, we are back and the work is done. I have outfitted the Xlite 29 with a black gold sight. This has got a dual pin, and I've got a ripcord drive cage limb-driven arrow rest. First time I've used this particular rest, and a Hamskea Raptor peep. Setup for me, in all honesty, was a little bit tricky, but I don't really put any of the blame on the bow. I think that's all on the person putting it together, me. When I first set this up, I just put on a D-loop with my nocking points and an arrow rest and a sight. I just went and shot a couple of arrows downrange, and I was blowing out the backs of nocks. I was cracking nocks. I tried a couple different arrows. I wasn't sure what was going on. And then I started wondering if I maybe messed up with my install of the rest. But I mean, I've set up many limb-driven rests. I was going crazy and I couldn't figure it out. So I went home, I left it all like that. I came back the next day and just tried to get to work and figure out what was going on. And it turns out knock pinch was the answer. So when I had set up my nocking points, either I didn't tighten them up snugly enough, or I didn't put them out far enough, and I was getting crazy knock pinch. This is, again, the shortest bow, 29 inches. So when you're drawing it, it can, the string can really compress and pinch a knock if you don't have enough space for it. And I clearly didn't. So I just cut off the D-loop, cut off the nocking points, set them back up again, and I was good to go. Going through paper, I still don't feel like I'm 100% there yet. I think, to play with the spacers a little bit. My arrow rest is a little farther out for me to get the travel I was looking for, a little farther left than I would like. So I don't think that's how I want to keep it. They fortunately sent out a bunch of different spacers, so I'm going to play with those limb spacers before I do the final review and see if I could find the ones that work best for me. With that in mind, I did shoot a lot of arrows over the last 2 days, getting this bow set up and ready to shoot for this little preview, more or less. And so I figured I'd walk you through the draw cycle. I did that in a video I recorded just a few moments ago. So let's go cut to that right now. So let's talk draw cycle with the Xlite 29. Again, as mentioned, the bow has a 340 IBO speed rating. The draw does not feel what I would consider a speed bow to feel. It draws pretty smooth, and it's got a little bit of valley. It's not, I think it's 80 or 85%. It's not a ton of room in the valley, but enough for me to hold comfortably and talk to you guys on camera. And letting down, it's a little aggressive, but not crazy. This is, I would say this more feels like a 330-ish, 335-ish kind of IBO bow as far as how the draw feels, which for me is fine. Again, I've got a long draw length at 30 inches, so I'm happy to have a smoother draw, even if I have to give up a touch of speed. But it holds nice. It's a small bow. It holds nice. The string angle is not terrible. And relatively quiet. Again, this is such a lightweight bow. Super light in the hand. Even with the all the accessories I've got on it right now. And really, just it's a nice treat to draw, especially if you're kind of pulling through consistently. If you're not trying to really baby the draw, it's a very smooth feeling pull. Really nice. I'm going to let down one more time. This is, again, if you're prepared for it properly, you can let down a little smoother like I did that last time, or if not, you know, it can catch you off guard a little bit, but that's pretty much the same with any hunting bow. So let's shoot one more again. Feels, again, it's a nice feeling draw cycle. Very linear, not much of a hump at all to speak of. It's a really solid feeling bow, and I felt much rougher draw cycles this year than this one, that's for sure. And again, pretty dead in the hand after the shot. It's got some doinkers up here and down here, a little stabilizer with some further dampening there. There's nothing in the limb specifically, but for a lightweight bow, feels pretty good in the hands after the shot. I'm very curious what this is going to do through the chronograph. We're going to find that out in just a couple minutes. But for now, yeah, as far as the draw cycle goes, the Xlite 29 feels like a winner to me. Now let's talk performance. So right after I shot that draw cycle video, I went and ran this bow through the chronograph a little bit. Setup, I should mention, I have the draw weight set to 70 pounds exactly. It took about a half a turn off of each limb to get to that 70-pound mark. And draw length is coming in at 30 1/4, maybe 30 1/8, something like that. Pretty close as anyone's really getting to that 30-inch mark for me this year. And I used a 350 grain arrow and a 455 grain arrow and ran those through the chronograph. With that lighter arrow, I saw speeds of 324 feet per second and 324 feet per second again. And with that heavier 455 grain arrow, I saw 289 feet per second and 289 feet per second again, just to verify those speeds. That is coming in a little bit lower than I was expecting. This bow has an IBO rated speed of 340 feet per second, but to be fair, the draw cycle kind of matches those performance numbers for me. You know, this is similar to some other bows I've shot this year that were, you know, rated a little bit higher, came in a little bit lower. That's expected for the most part. 16 maybe is a touch more than I was expecting as far as the feet per second difference between my tested speed and the rated speed. But keep in mind, that's my one person's chronograph, one person's arrow. You know, your results may vary, but that's what I've got for me for the time being. I think beyond that, I'm going to kind of play again with the tuning, as I mentioned earlier, just to see if I can get absolute most out of this bow as possible. I'll get back to you on that when I follow up with the long-term review. And I have one more bow coming in, which I'm hoping to get in the very near future, and I'm going to get that video to you, the setup and preview video for you, as soon as I can, and we'll follow all that up with long-term reviews, with a all-told speed test video with all the bows, a draw cycle video with all the bows, followed by the big shootout. Archery Talk, thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel an awful lot, and we'll see you soon.